Hamas launches rocket attack towards Tel Aviv area.
Here's a summary of the article.
Hamas says it has launched a big rocket attack at the Tel Aviv area in central Israel, several of which were intercepted by air defense systems, according to the Israeli military. In a statement, the Israel Defense Forces confirmed they had carried out an airstrike on a Hamas compound in Rafah, where significant Hamas terrorists were operating. The Hamas attack on Tel Aviv, the first time in nearly 4 months that the group has attacked central Israel, came amid an ongoing Israeli military operation in Rafah, which has continued in defiance of a ruling from the UN's top court. The rocket attack came ahead of further ceasefire negotiations between Israel and Hamas, which are expected to resume next week. By briefly destabilizing the relative normality the residents of Tel Aviv, the economic center of Israel, had been enjoying in recent months, Hamas may be trying to show its strength ahead of the talks, or trying to derail them. Later on Sunday, sirens also rang out in several border villages in the south adjacent to Gaza, including some where residents have returned to live since the Hamas attack on the 7th of October. Israel's military campaign in Gaza began after gunmen from Hamas attacked Israel on the 7th of October, killing about 1,200 people and taking 252 others back to Gaza as hostages.
This post received a score of 13,000, with an upvote ratio of 84%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Does Hamas still have old stock, or are they getting fresh rocket and ammunition supplies?
Russia and Iran would love the war to continue, Sue.
It's hard to imagine Russia directly providing these missiles at the moment, I will add, just because Russia themselves rely on Iranian weaponry right now for the Ukraine conflict.
These are very different weapons. Hamas is using fairly short-range rockets, which are of limited use in the war. They're not ballistic missiles and the like. Also, Iran is only delivering drones, right?
On top of that, it's absolutely possible that Russia would look at material support to Hamas as a mid-term investment that draws U.S. attention away from the war in Ukraine and may increase the odds of a Russian asset being re-elected as the U.S. president. It's quite plausible that Russia expects its war in Ukraine will likely last into 2025. Doesn't have much operational use for the sorts of weapons that Hamas uses. Finds it useful for U.S. public attention to be diverted toward the Mideast. And had institutional capacity, until this month, to funnel arms and materiel to Hamas through Egypt into Rafah. Iran is still obviously the main vector for material support to Hamas, but it's certainly not crazy to assume that Russia is supporting it in some capacity.
Surely this will help the situation reach a conclusion.
Reminds me so much of my little brother who would punch me and then yell, "Peace please peace," so that my parents would think I was the aggressor.
My siblings did that too. Stopped the second time they did it when I speared them to the ground, then beat the Holy Ghost into them, then back out of them. If I'm doing the time, I'm sure as hell doing the crime.
This is a, you get to do this once? Sort of situation.
I mean, if I had known that my parents wouldn't have seen that they were lying the first time, I absolutely would have done it the first time.
Good lessons in why justice isn't fair.
The rockets were fired from Rafah, in an area where the IDF were just circling them. They knew the launchers and rockets were going to be destroyed, so they got rid of them before it happens.
Oh, I thought Rafah was a refugee camp and IDF had no reason to go there other than killing innocent civilians.
And then Hamas was like, we're going to fire rockets from Rafah, because the Palestinian citizens are our number one priority.
In addition to these rockets, Hezbollah has sent over 60 rockets on northern Israel today. Coverage of these rockets in the media seems to be much lower, probably because this, unfortunately, happens almost every day over the last 7 months.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.